and care more about political optics than the lives and the well-being of Americans. And while Democrats have tried their best to ignore a very real, serious crisis, continue to obsess about one of their favorite fantasies. All they want to talk about, Donald Trump, impeachment, which, as we explained last week, is not going to happen. Now, in the Senate, they won't get 2/3 of Republican senators. All they will do is distract and divide the American people, and they won't be serving their constituents. Less than one day after being sworn in, freshman Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib went on a vulgar rant vowing to impeach the MFer, the president. Over the weekend, she doubled down on her idiotic remarks, once again calling for his impeachment, and said that Trump has, quote, met his match. The radical far left, the new Congress is off to a great start. Their new rising star, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is continuing to try and sell Americans on this far left radical vision for America, portraying socialism as some sort of path to paradise, arguing that we shouldn't let facts get in the way. Really? Take a look.
When people hear the word socialism, they think Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela. Is that what you have in mind?
Of course not. What we have in mind, and my policies most closely resemble what we see in the UK, in Norway, in Finland, in Sweden.
The Washington Post recently awarded you 4 Pinocchios.
Oh my goodness.
For misstating some statistics about Pentagon spending.
If people want to really blow up one figure here or one word there, I would argue that they're missing the forest for the trees. I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
It's only a $21 trillion mistake. Why pay attention to little facts and figures? So ask yourself, why is she so afraid to explain how to pay for it? Because the only way to pay for it is with your money. And she wants to raise taxes. She's already thrown her support behind, get this, a 70% tax rate for American citizens. But remember, the bottom 50% of wage earners pay less than 3% of income taxes already. And by the way, keep in mind, she'll definitely need a lot more of your money if she wants to accomplish the radical agenda. So don't be fooled. Paying for massive entitlements like government-run health care, government-mandated climate shaming, government-funded college for all, it will require massive, heavy taxes on all Americans, not just the millionaires and billionaires that are so often demonized. Interestingly, even the View's Whoopi Goldberg had some pretty choice words for the freshman Congresswoman's big plans. Let's take a look.
I would encourage you to sit still for a minute and learn a job. Because there are people in that party who have been working their tails off.
They know a lot.
And they know a lot. And you could learn some stuff. Before you start pooping on people and what they've done, you got to do something too.
And by the way, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, you're welcome on this program. If you want to have a real debate, we'll give you the full hour. I'll even give you 3 bonus hours of my radio show on 600 of the biggest stations in the country. But don't hold our breath, shall we? All right, of course, she first needs to denounce her many radical followers for what are disgusting attacks on the House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. Over the weekend, Congressman Scalise, he was hit with a wave of extremely disturbing comments from supporters of Ocasio-Cortez during a Twitter exchange on tax reform. Now, with some sending violent messages about, remember, the attempted assassination of GOP congressman by a far-left radical, James Hodgkinson, in 2017. Scalise was shot, nearly died, seriously injured. Comments including, quote, kick his cane, snipe his ass. Wow. And not following that incident, Congressman Scalise tweeted, quote, well, happy to continue this debate on the floor of the People's House, but it's clearly not productive to engage here with some of your radical followers. Hashtag stay classy. Congressman Scalise will join us later in the show. Now, of course, this is all a part of the Democratic Party's hard turn to the left. A lot of this now is based on hatred. A lot of it is now obsession, fixation, every second, minute, hour of every day. Hate Trump. One of the champions of the far left, Elizabeth Warren, she's now seeing her 2020 presidential hopes wither right before her eyes during a visit to Iowa over the weekend. The progressive, hopeful from Massachusetts was again pressed on her now infamous DNA debacle. And she's now come up with a brand new excuse for her Native American lies, telling the audience, quote, tribal citizenship is very different from ancestry. Senator, why don't you just stop while you're ahead and admit it? You were caught deceiving voters, your employers and your friends and everybody else. Now even our own congressional colleagues, they seem to be taking notice. New report from Politico, Democratic senators, they are keeping their distance and withholding any endorsements, especially as former Vice President, crazy Uncle Joe Biden, is reportedly on the verge of making his final decision on 2020. We'll have a lot more later in the show on all this, but first, we turn our attention back to the heart-wrenching story out of Tennessee. 22-year-old Pierce Corcoran, senselessly killed by a suspected illegal immigrant. And joining us now are Pierce's parents, DJ and Wendy Corcoran. I don't know, I've met many angel moms, dads, and families in the course of this show. This is all fresh to you. Wendy, we'll start with you. I don't know how any parent deals with this.
It's been the hardest thing of our lives. I can't even explain it.
You wrote some very powerful words about responsibility. I want you to explain from a parent's point of view, because the president is saying this is a national emergency. Do you agree with him?
Yes, I mean, I think we aren't taking it seriously, and I mean, we've taught our children to be responsible, and we don't feel like anyone else is being expected the same thing. He was 22 years old, and the man that was negligent in this case, he didn't abide by the same responsibility that our son did. He's still not expected to.
You know, you wrote at the end, and I want to read this to our audience. We're all aware as a family that nothing can bring Pierce back, but don't tell me my son, who lived in this country and followed its rules, doesn't deserve better. For God's sakes, out of the respect for the men and women who fought and fight to make this country such a desirable place to live, do the right thing, come here legally, and become a responsible citizen. DJ, your wife wrote that, and I thought it was very powerful.
And I stand by her words. We are not a hating people. We love and we rally behind people, the underdogs that come here to America and succeed legally. And that's what we want. I don't understand why that's so hard. And this shouldn't be a political left wing, right wing. It should just be America. And we should really try to help those people come here legally and be responsible citizens.
You know,
I mean, we all came here at one time. The only people that are native are the Native Americans, and we all came here for a better life, and I get that. But he's been here for 14 years, and he made no attempt at all to become a legal, law-abiding citizzen. He's lived in the shadows for all this time.
When you also hear so many instances, and I have become friends, people that have gone through your very situation, over time I have become friends with. Steve Ronnebeck is one of them. He lost his son Grant, the same age as your son, 22 years old, working overnight in a convenience store, and shot over a pack of cigarettes and killed and murdered. And one of the things, the illegal immigrant in that case had been in the criminal justice system. Wendy, when you hear that not only are they here illegally, which is one thing, but then they're in the justice system, and then like in the case of Officer Singh, they have sanctuary policies that protect them when they're in jail from being handed over to ICE to be deported, and then they commit other crimes. If it was me, I would in part blame the government for their failure. And I want to get your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. They are to blame. You cannot come here and not. I mean, we're re-victimized by the system, is what we feel like, and we've just learned that. We've seen other people deal with this and felt for them. Our hearts break for them. Much more tragic in some ways, and it's unjust. Our son's life meant something, and somebody that had no right to be here matters more.
In manufacturing, if you manufacture a product and it is killing people and it is hurting them, they will issue a recall. We have
The
a
system needs to be
system
recalled.
that has a flaw. We have a flaw in the system, and there needs to be a recall. There needs to be a do-over. Just say, look, we didn't foresee all of this, and we need to stop the conveyor belt, stop the manufacturer, and look and see what that problem is, and take control of it. The government owes us that all of us, any person that's here, paying their taxes and doing what they're supposed to be doing and abiding by the law, the government owes them that, I think.
You both are living a nightmare, and I pray for both of you. I think the hardest thing in life to ever deal with is, I'm a parent, losing a child is the hardest thing that I think people will ever go through, that you're living this nightmare. We're in the middle of a national debate, and we're trying to decide if the president is right in declaring a national emergency and securing the border and building a wall so that our agents, our border agents, can do their job. Because it so deeply impacts both of you, I think you have more of a right than anybody else, having been impacted by this, to give us your thoughts. How would you like this solved?
I mean, I think that my father told me one time, he said, a lock, a door, a wall will keep an honest person out. If a criminal or somebody that wants to do something harm or do something illegal, they'll find a way in. The wall will stop some people from just coming over, but I think that there needs to be something in place that's going to
Be a deterrent.
Be a deterrent. Well, we had some friends over that were talking to us, and they said that maybe we're looking at it wrong. You know, instead of punishing the people that are coming here trying to get a better life, to maybe start punishing the people that are employing them and enabling them and exploiting them and using them to their financial advantage, to maybe start finding those people and then maybe.
I don't disagree at all. And I think with a barrier, come in legally, a wall with a door. I know I speak for this audience.
Exactly.
We pray for you and your family. We're so sorry. Such a beautiful young man, 22 years old. This shouldn't happen. This should not happen in this country.
No, shouldn't.
You're in our prayers.
For sure.
All right, when we come back, Geraldo Rivera, Dan Bunch.